My room smells. I think there's like manure outside. Thankfully, I've got this warm apple pie, apple and cinnamon room spray. That's much better. Hang on, I've got an idea. What if this could be used to layer fragrances? Good morning. It is that time of the week again. It's my late shift at work, so I want to get out and I want to do a little run this morning. And the weather is looking all right for it, so I'm very happy. So we're on to our next edition of layering fragrances, and you would have just seen I've sprayed this lovely room spray. Never like the smell of room sprays, to be honest with you, but this one's okay. It's got a bit of a Christmassy, festive vibe, which is suitable for this time of year. So if you've seen these videos before, essentially I've been layering weird products with my fragrances recently, whether that's peanut butter, whether it's Vaseline, whether it's certain foot creams, matcha powder, Marmite, all these sort of weird spicy things, different consistencies. Some have been, like I said, waxy, a little bit jelly, a bit like cream. Some have been a little bit more watery, like fruit and things like that. Today, though, I'm looking more at application than anything. So a lot of those things I've had to rub into my skin, whether that's deep heat, deep freeze. They're all things that I'm kind of having to rub in. Obviously, fragrances on the whole, you tend to apply by spraying. So I thought we'd do that today and use maybe see if application can affect the way fragrances smell and layer it. So this one, as I said, is an apple and cinnamon type scent. Just smells like Christmas, really, very sweet. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to spray my arm with this today. I'm going to apply it with a very contrasting scent to see if it can elevate a fragrance that probably doesn't really need elevating, to be honest. But it's this one over here, Aramis. Really just so I can detect the different smells, because I've got a feeling this could be quite overpowering otherwise. And I want to see if it can elevate this even more. Maybe just sweeten Aramis up because it's very smoky. Certainly not suitable for a workout on the whole, but I wanted to wear it today for this experiment. So what I'll do on one arm, I'll apply this, I'll apply Aramis on top of it, then it'll just be Aramis on its own on the other side. And we'll see how different it is in terms of smell and also longevity as well. Because again, a lot of the ingredients in these sort of things, they do transfer over a bit. Actually, don't you think they give you ingredients on this? Probably not safe to rub on your skin, but we're going to do it now anyway. I'm just going to start with a very gentle spray. And I'll give it a smell. Well, it certainly doesn't smell horrible on my skin. I was worried it was going to get a bit more alcoholic on my skin, just because, again, in the air, it's slightly different. Sometimes, I'm sure you know this, if you have fragrances, they can smell very different in the air to up close, but it's very nice, very sweet. A very nice sweet apple with some almost like red berries, to be honest with you. I don't really get a lot of that cinnamon. It's not spicy in that sense. And then what I'll do, I'll put the Aramis over the top. So it's quite wet that though. It's obviously a bit more of a wet spray. Room sprays tend to be. Just let that sit for a second, and then I'll just apply the fragrance, obviously, on my own, or on its own, I should say, on this side. If you don't know what Aramis smells like, very old school masculine, leather, smoky, but there's like this green herbal type vibe to it as well, which you certainly pick up, but it's very old school. It's the sort of scent that, again, a younger person or someone who's getting into fragrances, it'll be a little bit too daring. But I remember liking it when I was younger because my dad was wearing it. Would I have felt comfortable wearing it? Probably not, but now I absolutely love it. Right, so that is just sitting. What I'm going to do then, I'm just going to get myself into my running gear, then after I'll give an initial impressions. Okay, so running gear is now on. It's been about 10-15 minutes since I applied the room spray and the fragrance, so let's give it a smell. Right, initial impressions off the bat. Nothing's particularly stronger, but the smell is very different. So, Aramis on its own, it's definitely got this green pininess in it. It's nice, I really like it. I just love old school fragrances, I really appreciate them. They're a bit of a love-hate with some of the smells, but yeah, very nice, just typical Aramis, smoky, slightly green, slightly herbal. And then this is the one with the layering. I'd probably say the room spray is stronger than Aramis. It's definitely taken that smoky edge off and it's become a lot more fruity. But it's not very pleasant. Again, it's a room spray, I get that, and I said there's no ingredients in it, but you can tell there's obviously a perfume in it to scent the room. but there's this sort of chemical vibe. It's like the most synthetic fragrance you can buy in the world. That's what it smells like. And with that sort of herbal component to the Aramis, it's a little bit, I'll be honest, detergent cleaner. If you've cleaned the floor or mopped window, wipe windows clean, it smells like that. It's not overly it smells like a fragrance, but it smells like a fragrance for a different purpose, which is exactly what it is. It's a room spray, not to be applied to your arm. But of course, it'd be interesting now. It's dried. That's the one thing I would like with this, or have liked it. It's not sticky. It's completely dry. It doesn't feel horrible on my skin. I feel like I can roll the sleeve down, put it up, and it's not going to affect any transfer of fragrance, which some of the other ones have. So it'd be interesting to see again when I sweat a bit more. Will it come out? Will it just stay into the skin, and will it just last a little bit longer today? Because as I said, don't normally do misty sort of sprays like this, so it's the first time for this one. Really interested to see how it goes. So if you haven't seen these, essentially 3 checkpoints on my run, so sort of every half an hour I'll do an update, come back, we'll do an indoor smell test, because sometimes obviously when you're running, your nose blocks up a little bit, it can be hard to get different smells. Then I'll have a shower before work, and yeah, we'll just see if it still smells after that. I think Aramis being a strong spray, you'll be able to smell it a little bit more in general, but yeah, so far feels fine on the skin, just not a very pleasant smell, but much nicer in terms of its application and consistency on my arm. Anyway, stop putting it off, a little bit of stretching, then we're going to go for our run. Checkpoint 1, I'm rattling around because there's got so many zips on these coats and phone straps and all sorts. Okay, so that was with the layering, and that was without. Right. Interesting. So the Aramis without the layering, so just Aramis on its own, is really strong. Really strong. That herbal smokiness, just so synonymous with Aramis, and it's really quite strong. I don't really need to bury my nose in it to smell it. It's there, and it's aggressive, which you expect with these old school fragrances. Came out in 1966, and I feel like it could have lasted 50 years if you sprayed the whole bottle I've got for those 50, 60 years even. 60 years, isn't it? Now the one with the layering on, the Aramis has been really toned down, and I'm barely getting anything from it. I have to say, this is going to sound really horrible, it sounds a bit like vomit on that arm. It's the cinnamon I'm getting in it actually, or the sweet apple. It's not cinnamon, sorry, it's the apple. It's like a really sweet sort of toffee apple, but it's very, very sickly, very, very sickly, and it's not very pleasant on my arm. Again, it's got that detergent cleaner smell, but where it's reacted with my skin, yeah, it's a little bit like vomit. It's not pleasant at all. So yeah, the Aramis has certainly been tamed down. I'm hoping over time that might come back through, because it's obviously a little bit more oily in its complexion. It's a bit wetter, room sprays and stuff, but it's the room spray I'm really getting. If it was a scale, I'd say it's about 90% that and 10% that, a sort of a hint of Aramis in the background. But the Aramis actually on my arm alone is great, but it just feels like the actual room spray has really tamed it down on the other scent. So far the layering's kind of, I suppose, working in terms of staying on my arm, but I'm not sure it's going to help the fragrance at all. I think anything, it's just going to overpower it and make it a bit redundant. I wouldn't even really know Aramis is on there, but we'll give it another sort of 45 minutes and I'll do another update. Okay then, so checkpoint 2, tied to my arms. Right, so not a lot has changed, to be honest. It smells much the same. There's no two ways about it. I cannot smell Aramis on layering it on, and I find that really strange. This is a strong fragrance, and on this arm where it's just applied on its own, the Aramis, it's probably 80% as strong as when I left about an hour and a half ago, or an hour ago. Whereas this one, there's just no Aramis there. It's just that very faint Christmas smell. But again, as I go back to, I don't like the smell of it on my arm. In terms of the feel, it's fine. It's not greasy, it's not uncomfortable, it's not stinging. It doesn't feel like it's blocking my pores or anything like that. It feels like it's fragrance that's applied to your arm, but it's just not nice. It's got this apple cinnamon smell that just smells a little bit like vomit, a little bit like, I've mentioned this for a few fragrances before, you know when you go for like a zoo enclosure and there's that sort of rotten fruit smell with a bit of that sort of dirty animal type smell. It's kind of that, and it's just not a fragrance. If you were wearing it and you didn't put too much on and someone walked by you, you might smell faintly alright, but for yourself you're not really going to want this at all. It's just not that sort of thing you want to wear. But either way, what I can only say is it is largely, it's staying on skin. That's not a lot better than other fragrances. Again, I think it goes back to it. Spraying more like a mist, spraying more like an atomizer. Maybe that's better than rubbing things on your skin, because even fragrances where I've had oils which I've rubbed on my neck, you know, solid perfume balms, they just never project in the same way. And it does feel like sprays, mists, all those things definitely do a bit better for projection. It's just a shame this one isn't that nice, and it's taken over the Aramis smell completely. But anyway, I'm warming up now. Hopefully there'll be a little bit of a change on the last checkpoint, so we'll do another checkpoint in about half an hour, then we'll head back and do an initial indoor impressions. Okay then, so final checkpoint on this run. Starting to warm up and get a bit worn out now. Okay. Right, now I've warmed up a little bit. Both have definitely eased off. Neither of them feel anywhere near as strong as they did. But the Aramis still isn't coming through with that. So really, I think the main thing we've got to say, the layering here is the fragrance. And maybe the Aramis is layering it, because it's still pretty strong there. You know, it's still, you know, I say it's lighter, but it's probably 40-50%. And the Aramis, I just think where it is a more smoky fragrance, it's a little bit more aggressive is what I'm trying to say. It's probably 60-65%. It smells a little bit stronger off the bat because it's a bit harsher. However, that sort of sickly smell, that sickly sweet smell from this has definitely worn off with it. It's still not pleasant, it still smells like a room spray, because it is, but it's become more pleasant. And again, I do actually feel in the air, if someone walked by, it's not horrible. I don't think anyone's going to compliment you. I wouldn't feel comfortable wearing it, but I am detecting the apple and cinnamon again a bit more now, where it's got a little bit softer. But yeah, it's just not pleasant. It does smell like you've basically masked a bad smell. Almost like, if you know, sometimes when you wear dirty clothes that are a bit smelly, you haven't had them in the wash, you just put a fragrance on to try and mask the smell. It feels like that's what my arm's kind of got on it. It's like I've had a bad smell on there, I've just tried to put something on to mask it. And I said, the Aramis one, yes, it's not right for running, but it smells right. It just smells like a fragrance. So overall, again, not too disappointed with this, but yeah, so far initial impressions are, I can't see this ever being something that's going to work. But when I get back, once my nose is clear, because as you can tell I'm bunged up a little bit, we'll see if I can smell the Aramis indoors. But I don't think I'm going to, I really don't. But I think the test today will be, how much will I actually notice the fragrance after a shower? Because in the last few weeks I've not been able to detect any scent from the layering at all after a shower. It's like it's completely rubbed it off. But for this one I'm feeling more hopeful that we'll still get a scent 4 hours since I applied it. So yeah, let's get this last bit done, get back, and then we'll do our indoor impressions. Okay, so we're back home. It's time to smell my arms for an indoor impression. See if it smells any different now I'm inside. So that's the layering. And that's there's a big fight going on outside between the crows and stuff. If you can hear them. So interesting, I am definitely picking up a bit of that herbal sort of greenness from the Aramis now. Almost like a pininess. I need to look at the notes again in Aramis. The thing is with a lot of the old school fragrances, the note breakdowns are huge. It's very hard to know exactly what it is. But it's not smoky. There's definitely that apple cinnamon from the spray that's still slightly dominant. But now my nose is a bit clearer and I'm breathing in a bit more. I can definitely get a bit of that Aramis vibe. But the actual Aramis original fragrance is pretty strong. It's actually stronger than this. It really is. And it's really pleasant. I can't understand why this is weaker, because I sprayed Aramis second. Maybe if I'd sprayed Aramis first on this before the layering, I would have assumed you know, maybe it might just tame, it may just sit over the top of the Aramis and stop it from coming through. But there isn't that excuse for this one. Maybe it's just where it's absorbed into the skin, both being a spray a little bit better, and it has just blocked my pores a little bit originally, and it's just not giving that Aramis vibe. But this one, the layering's not working. As I said, the Aramis is actually now stronger. There's no two ways about it. It's still more of a pleasant smell. But yeah, this is, as I said, this one's just kind of a mix of room spray and a hint of Aramis in the background. So in some ways, I guess that's kind of worked. But of course, I want to see how it survives after the shower today. I think the real success of this today would be if I have a shower, I can still smell the layering on top, because I said a lot of the ones recently, there's been nothing. The matcha powder just wore off straight away, and other ones have just worn off. So yeah, really interested. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to do some weights now, be about 45 minutes until I'm out of the shower, and then I'll give my final thoughts. Okay, so I've had my shower. It's been about 4 hours now since I applied the fragrance and the layering. So I'm going to start with my arm, with the layering, and then without. Right, so overall, I can still smell that very faintly. We're talking 5%. Again, if I didn't know it was there, would I potentially not pick it up? Probably so. I'd probably say, someone else said, can you smell mine? Can you detect it? I'd probably say, no, I can't. But the very thin apple sort of cinnamon smell, but none of the Aramis. The Aramis just has not done well with that layering. But on this side, without the layering, I can smell the Aramis absolutely fine. And I'm not really sure why. As I said earlier on, the Aramis was sprayed on top of the fragrance. I let the fragrance dry out. But for some reason, it just hasn't done it. It's just completely tamed it. And it's not the first time we've had that with layering. Sometimes if the fragrance or the layering thing, whatever I'm rubbing on me, is a bit stronger, you can understand that. But I don't think this one particularly is. And I just thought that smokiness would come through. But on this side, so I said this was about 5%. That's about 25-30%, which I expect with Aramis in general. It's a really, really strong fragrance, and I really did try and wash it off today, but it just lingers, it stays there, and it's brilliant. I absolutely love Aramis. I think it's a great scent. But yeah, interesting today. Not what I expected. Pre sort of doing this one, I really thought the spray was going to maybe just feel very uncomfortable on my arm, be a bit sticky. It wasn't sticky at all. I said the consistency and the feeling of the spray on my arm was the biggest positive of it. It didn't feel uncomfortable. Didn't feel wrong in terms of the way it was applied either. But it's just it just completely tamed the fragrance. It overtook the fragrance without ever being too strong, just uncomfortable. Just yeah, it just didn't smell good. It was more the smell that let it down today than anything. But the original fragrance has done really well, and it is actually stronger than the layering as well. So does room sprays improve scent quality, and does it improve longevity? And on both of those today, no. The only thing it did well on was maybe just that general feel. It just absorbed a little bit better and didn't feel as uncomfortable. But yeah, don't think I'll be using that one again. And I don't recommend it, like I probably say with all of these, because it's a bit of a strange thing to do. But we will do another one next week as well. Got a little bit more time in the next week or two as well. So hoping to do some more type videos like this as well, and some more face-offs, hopefully if the weather stays nice. But yeah, thank you very much for watching today, and yeah, plenty more to come. So hopefully I'll catch you for those later on.